Coming up next, new protests in State College as the Israel-Hamas War rages on.
Free, free Palestine!
Plus, how old is too old? Concern grows among voters over President Biden and Donald Trump's run for office.
And Penn State gets ready to dance as THON begins in just a few hours. The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Caroline Quick. Thank you for joining us for the Center County Report.
And I'm Jade Bramwell. Our top story, new developments in the Israel-Hamas War and reaction here at home. Negotiations over a ceasefire in Gaza appear to have stalled. Meantime, health officials say 5 patients have died after their oxygen cut off in southern Gaza's main hospital after a raid by Israeli troops. They're searching the complex where they believe the remains of hostages kidnapped by Hamas might be located. And attention is on the city of Rafah near the Egyptian border and possible Israeli ground offensive there. Here at home, State College residents and Penn State students held a new protest over what's happening in Gaza.
Free, free Palestine! Free!
Protesters joined together again in State College for a pro-Palestinian event they called Hands Off Rafah. They're referring to the city in southern Gaza where more than 1 million people are crammed into tents and shelters, a place likely to be the next Israeli military's next big ground offensive target. 67-year-old Pleasant Gap resident Greg Connolly says he's been using his voice to protest in front of the Allen Street gates for the last 2 months.
One of the great words in Islam that I've learned, or in Arabic that I learned about this, is mashallah, which means God wills it. So I am here, mashallah, because God wills it. It's my duty to fight for the Palestinian people.
But others say Israel has the right to defend itself against Hamas. And Sarah Moretsky told us as a Jewish woman, she believes Israel's doing everything in its power to warn Palestinians to leave the dangerous zones.
They're attacking you. They gave fair warning. It is Hamas that told them do not leave. There were hostages that have been held hostage by Hamas since October 7th for 150 days in dark tunnels.
This week's protest in State College remained peaceful as some drivers honked their horns and joined chants in support of Palestinians. The head of the Arab League is warning that an Israeli ground offensive into Rafah would lead to a humanitarian disaster and threaten stability in the region. And Egypt is building an 8-square-mile walled enclosure near the Gaza border to boost security in case of large numbers of people come into Egypt.
As the Biden administration keeps a close eye on the Israel-Hamas war, there's growing attention on the president's age and mental fitness as he runs for another term. Alexis Belatris takes a look.
New polling out this week from ABC News shows 86% of Americans think President Biden is too old to serve another term. It's a growing issue for the Biden campaign, and the president himself is fighting back.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president, I put this country back on its feet.
Even 73% of Democrats polled believed he's too old. Others disagree.
I do personally see his age as a draw. I say that as a proud Democrat.
Among the more visible issues are Biden's verbal mistakes and memory lapses. Penn State College Republicans President Ryan Klein says that's concerning.
Those basic fundamental things of just like walking around and talking, he's got problems doing that. And I mean, especially when you're running the country, you need to be mentally fit, you need to be competent.
Penn State College Democrats president says there's plenty of help available for the president.
These people are surrounded by armies of aides, legions of advisors who help them take the decisions that they take. So even if Joe Biden is a little bit slow, there's nothing to suggest to me personally that he's lost his wit.
The new polling doesn't just call out Biden's age. 62% also say Donald Trump is too old to serve.
Kind of catches more with Biden than it does with Trump. But there's no disputing in my mind that the issues associated with one are the same issues associated with the other.
Concerns about both Biden and Trump's age have increased since the fall and as we head into the heart of the primary season. I'm Alexis Belatris for the Center County Report.
The next presidential primaries are on the schedule in South Carolina for the Republicans next week and in Michigan for both parties the following week.
Center County first responders and medical workers are mourning the loss of a popular and respected colleague. Rich Kelly died this month. He was 56 years old. Kelly worked as a paramedic and EMS manager at Mount Nittany Health. He joined the group as a paramedic in 1991. He also served in other roles over the years.
While winter is still here in central PA, we haven't had much snow. In fact, a forecasted big snowstorm this week never happened. That led to some criticism of local meteorologists. Eric Morris reports.
This week's winter storm dropped about 3 inches of snow across most of Center County, but earlier forecasts had called for a major storm with as much as 9 inches. Turns out, the storm shifted south, but that left some people in central PA criticizing meteorologists over their perception of a blown forecast.
All computer models are wrong in some respect. They're trying to simulate the atmosphere, much like when you play a computer game on your phone or on the web. It's not a perfect simulation.
Residents here of State College were told to expect between 6 and 10 inches of snowfall this morning, which obviously was a cause for concern. So much so that the university suspended all operations, including classes, from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. However, as you can see behind me, the roads are mostly clear, and the snowfall didn't amount to very much.
PennDOT says it was ready for the storm. The agency says its preparation process involves close communication to figure out the best course of action.
We are having conference calls with local weather authorities like AccuWeather and the National Weather Service to get the most current information about what is in the forecast.
So, the question many of us have, what happened?
If the model is off by just, 40, 50 miles, it could mean a huge difference in a situation like what we had on Tuesday, where what we meteorologists call the boom or bust potential is huge because there's such a gradient between who gets relatively nothing and who gets dumped on.
In a typical winter, State College would have about 28.1 inches of snow by this point. However, this year, it's just 16.5. That's a difference of almost an entire foot. Maybe Punxsutawney Phil was right. Maybe it will be an early spring this year. I'm Eric Morris for the Center County Report.
There's still plenty of time for more snow. We'll check the 7-day forecast a little later in this newscast.
The largest run student philanthropy is kicking off Penn State's dance marathon this afternoon. Preparations for THON at the BJC began last night after the basketball game. Crews began loading equipment in and building up the stage, and the setup continued this morning ahead of the 6 p.m. start tonight.
The 46-hour dance marathon brings together thousands of volunteers, student dancers, and support personnel to make it all happen. Ethan Zaretsky is live outside the BJC right now. Ethan, you have a story about a couple of unique dancers there today.
Thanks, Caroline. That's absolutely correct. Out of the 708 students that are going to be participating in THON this year, just right behind me in the Bryce Jordan Center, their ages range roughly between 18 and 22. Earlier in the week, I spoke with Erica Armstrong and Danielle Ray, and they don't quite fit that demographic.
15
Lots of Penn State students dream about dancing at THON. For Danielle Ray, that dream came true. Almost 30 years after she was a Penn State undergrad. The Hershey resident danced last year, and now the World Campus Master's student will dance a second time.
I get this really cool perspective of seeing my life experience versus the other dancers.
Danielle is 50 years old. She's one of 2 World Campus students dancing in THON and the oldest dancer this weekend. She told us her motivation comes from the other students.
Their energy and enthusiasm is very intoxicating and contagious.
Danielle lives in Hershey, but her trip to State College isn't even close to the commute that her dance partner, Erica Armstrong, has. She's traveling here from Saskatchewan, Canada. It's a cross-continental trek.
Planes, trains, and automobiles, that's how I'm rolling.
Erica's journey began in the middle of Canada. From there, her husband dropped her off at Minot International Airport in North Dakota. She flew from Minot to Denver and then to Philadelphia. After 2 days of rest, she hopped on a train to Harrisburg before finally arriving in State College by bus. Not an easy commute. The 40-year-old World Campus student is doing it all for her parents.
I've lost both of my parents to cancer. That itself has been difficult, but I know what it's like for a family who is struggling with this disease that affects so many.
Armstrong and Ray are dancing for their student-run organization, Penn State World Campus, benefiting THON. Their group raised over $6,000 to secure their spots in this year's THON event. Live from the BJC, I'm Ethan Zaretsky. Now back to you.
Great story, Ethan. Still to come, we check the 7-day forecast. Is there any snow on the way?
Plus, 2 local stores are closing their doors. Also coming up, a church in Center County joins a worldwide effort to make prom a night to remember for some very special people. 3 Center County furniture stores will close their doors after the longtime owner's retirement. Your Furniture for Less and the Amish Furniture Collection on Benner Pike and Bellefonte are holding going out of business sales, and another Your Furniture for Less store in Phillipsburg is also holding a liquidation sale. The stores are set to close sometime in March, putting several employees out of work.
And State College late night eatery Are You Hungry is closing after nearly 2 decades. The restaurant announced on Instagram that because of the challenges, including staffing, lingering issues from the pandemic, and loss of partner, it made its tough decision to close. The last day is February 26th. The restaurant says it's grateful for loyal customers and everyone who's been a part of their time in State College over the years.
Prom Night is a special night in the lives of many people. Now, a local church has hosted its annual Night to Shine prom, giving people with special needs a fun night full of memories. Jeremy Laguerre shows you later.
It was a prom night they'll never forget. Calvary Harvest Field Church hosted its annual Night to Shine event, joining hundreds of churches around the world in holding a prom for people with special needs.
I really enjoy it because I love to dance, and it's just really good. I love hang out with friends and socializing.
Here in Boalsburg, the event featured plenty of fun, from photos, hair and makeup, to a red carpet walk onto the dance floor. And when people took a break from dancing, they were treated to dinner and karaoke. Organizers say the event has helped to bring the community together.
So we presently have 160 guests and about 250 volunteers. We have about $5,000 in sponsorship from local businesses. So really the community has just rallied around making this event happen.
More than 500 churches take part in Night to Shine, created by the Tim Tebow Foundation. For those who danced the night away in Boalsburg, it left memories to last a lifetime.
Just see the reactions of the guests when they come in. They're truly just thrilled to be here. It's an event that's filled with joy and laughter.
I'm Jeremy Laguerre for the Center County Report.
This year marked the 10-year anniversary of the Night to Shine event.
Early morning winds brought in old man winter for this upcoming weekend. Behind me is a live look at the Penn State golf courses where we can see some snow sticking to those greens. Current conditions for our Friday afternoon, it's about 34 degrees. However, with a westerly northwesterly wind coming in at 14 miles per hour, it feels like 24. So I suggest some layers as we head through the next couple of hours. Looking at those temperatures around the central region of Pennsylvania, we can see we're in these mid-30s, upper 30s over in Williamsport and Selinsgrove, 42 down in Harrisburg. And when we zoom out more, we can see over by the Great Lakes, we're in those low 30s to upper 20s, and down by Philly, we're just above the 40-degree mark. Looking at those winds, we were in a wind advisory effect until about 10 a.m. this morning, as State College is at 14-mile-per-hour winds, Williamsport in 15, teens over for Scranton as well as Allentown, as these winds are bringing in some colder air from Canada. This cold air is making the feel-like temperatures drop well below freezing for most of the state, keeping it chilly and a bit more like winter. Looking at the almanac for today, we can see how we're right in between the normals for February 16th. We're right in the 30-degree mark, mid-30s, so we're not quite breaking any records today. However, it's feeling like winter. Looking at our satellite, we can see north of I-80, we have some lake effect snow bands coming across, bringing some variable accumulation to those regions in the northern tier of the state. However, below I-80, high and dry conditions remain, and that'll stay true for a little bit longer. As we look to our west, we can see a system heading our way. The center of that system will just go to the south of us, yet it will bring in that cold air and moisture, bringing some snow over through the overnight and into tomorrow. And as we watch this play out, we can see just when that snow will hit us in most of the Commonwealth, right around Friday evening, right around 8 p.m. And that'll bring some variable and light accumulation, but it'll be passing through by Saturday morning with just some scattered showers and some pop-up flurries for the rest of the weekend. They'll clear out, and by Sunday we'll just have clouds sticking around for the northern tier of the state. Low by Interstate 70, it'll start to clear out as we go into our work week for next week. So for our weekend, we have increasing clouds, high of 35 degrees with some winds coming from our westerly northwestern region. Tonight, the snow comes in, and for tomorrow, we will be having some high of 31 and snow showers for our early parts of the day. Putting that in the forecast, we can see how we will have a pleasant President's Day weekend, but for those of us going into the THON weekend, I would suggest maybe bring a couple layers as we head in and out of the BJC.
Yes, it's going to be a chilly one this weekend.
You're totally right, Jade. Next, we're going to toss to Sam for sports.
Coming up in sports, Central Pennsylvania high school coach retires after 4 decades on the job. And Penn State football coach James Franklin meets with the media for the first time since the Lions' Peach Bowl loss. Hear what he had to say. I'm Sam Kirk with sports. Penn State football's winter workouts are in full swing, and the blue and white spring game is only 8 weeks away, believe it or not. Justin Chevalella caught up with the team this week.
It's been nearly 2 months since Penn State's football season came to an end with a loss in the Peach Bowl. Since then, the Nittany Lions have had a busy offseason, but by no means a normal one. College football keeps changing.
So we've been on a slippery slope for a while, and the reality is it's the college football that we've all known, the college athletics that we've all known, that's not coming back. And you're going to have to embrace the current model that we're in.
With NIL, the transfer portal, and the coaching carousel at all-time highs, Franklin and staff had to focus on embracing the new system. The Nittany Lions brought in their 3rd consecutive top 15 recruiting class while also bringing in 6 transfers from FBS schools. While the transfer portal is still uncharted territory, Franklin says a pre-existing philosophy is the key to success.
If we go to the transfer portal, more times than not, I would love it to be a guy that we recruited on the front end, because it's a short period of time for the parents, for the players, and for our staff to get to know each other.
4 of the 6 transfers were previously recruited by Penn State, with former Ohio State wide receiver Julian Fleming being the most notable. But the philosophy of familiarity goes beyond the players, with Franklin's connection to new special teams coordinator Justin Lustig going back a decade.
Going back to being a Pennsylvania guy, I think coach has done a phenomenal job of tracking younger coaches. And I remember when he followed me on Twitter, about 10 years ago, and I thought that was a really cool thing at the time.
Lustig joined Tom Allen and Andy Koltanicki as the blue and white brought in a trio of new coordinators. I'm Justin Chevalella for the Center County Report.
The blue and white game is set for Saturday, April 13th at Beaver Stadium. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. and you can listen live on Penn State Com Radio. One of Central Pennsylvania's winningest football coaches has announced his retirement after more than 40 years of coaching. Central High's Dave Baker stepped down from the position this month. The 78-year-old finished with 245 career wins from coaching at Williamsburg and Central. He led the Scarlet Dragons to 7 district titles, including a 4th straight this past season, and 4 state Final Four appearances. Penn State wrestling is back on the mat this Sunday after beating Rutgers in the BJC duel. In their black and pink throwback uniforms, the Nittany Lions won 9 of 10 bouts on Monday. Senior Bo Bartlett was named Big Ten Wrestler of the Week after his performance. Bartlett is now 16-0 on the year. This win against Rutgers was the 1,000th dual meet victory in Penn State history. The Nittany Lions host Nebraska at Rec Hall on Sunday. To basketball now. The Nittany Lions are on the road this weekend. They play Nebraska tomorrow. On Wednesday, they hosted Tom Izzo and red-hot Michigan State. After ending their 3-game win streak with a loss in Northwestern on Sunday, Penn State suffered yet another hard-fought defeat on Wednesday when hosting Michigan State. The Spartans' Malik Hall was the star of the show, dominating the floor on his way to a career-high performance of 29 points and 10 rebounds. Michigan State has won 7 of their last 9 games after starting 1-4 in Big Ten play.
Yeah, I think we needed to win a game that there was a little bit of pressure on us, and like I said, they've been playing good. We gave them full respect because they've been playing good on film. You watch them, team's getting better. He's done a hell of a job with that team.
Penn State went on a 7-1 run to start the second half to cut the deficit to 46-38. The 15 points from Ace Baldwin Jr. and Zach Hicks was not enough, though, as Penn State drops their second game to the Spartans of the season.
We got beat today by a team with a culture, period. And it's a well-established culture, as we all know about it, and it's probably the best in the Big Ten. And that's where we got to get to someday.
Both teams will hit the road for matchups on Saturday. Penn State will play at Nebraska, as Michigan State will take a short trip to play Michigan, with just a few games left before the Big Ten Conference tournament. To the ice, Penn State hockey hopes to get back on track at home against Michigan tonight to keep NCAA tournament chances alive. The Nittany Lions are coming off a historic weekend in Minnesota, but not in a good way. They were blanked by identical 3-0 scores, making it the first time in program history they've been shut out in back-to-back games. This is the 12th season for the team.
Thank you, Sam. It's going to be a big weekend for Penn State students between THON and ice hockey.
You're right, definitely a very exciting weekend. Coming up next, a local town creates a sporting event to celebrate the lives of 2 local legends.
2 beloved Penns Valley athletic supporters will be remembered by their community tomorrow. Bob and Bobby Musser were well known at Penns Valley sports events until both passed away suddenly last summer. The athletics department officially recognized Bob's spot at the 5-yard line on the football field sideline. Bradley Musser, Bob's grandson, and friend Lucas Scherer have now organized a memorial darts tournament to honor the longtime fans. The Musser Memorial Dart Tournament is tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the Frosty Hook in Spring Mills. All proceeds go to 2 postgraduate scholarships for Penn Valley senior athletes. Nice event. And that's all for today's newscast. We hope you'll join us next Friday for the next local update.
But you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Center County Report X. And you can see our stories on our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website. Have a great afternoon.